Howdy howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Scene, and in today's video I'm basically giving you all the recording of the very first episode of the Kilima Post, which is a podcast that me and Shinori Yoru has been working on. It is uploaded on Spotify a day earlier, so if you want to check me out on Spotify, you can go ahead and follow me there to get first dibs at this when it launches. But any rate, I'm just gonna go ahead and let it play. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy Palia content, and hopefully you enjoy the podcast. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Howdy howdy y'all. Welcome to the first episode of the Kilima Post.
A Palia focused podcast, a cozy MMO created by Singularity 6.
With your host, Scene.
And Shinori Yoru.
And you can find me on twitch.tv/kfiercene, as well as on YouTube, as well at kfiercene.
Also, you can find me on Twitch as well at twitch.tv/Shinori Yoru. Also on Blue Sky /Shinori Yoru as well.
And for those people who are new to Palia, as we mentioned, it is a cozy MMO by Singularity 6. So I like to think of it as like Animal Crossing, but online.
And also like Stardew Valley, where you could mine, hunt, and cook and basically feed your town.
Right. And speaking of it, it's I know I myself has been playing Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley since on the GameCube myself. I know I spent quite a few years streaming Animal Crossing New Leaf on Twitch back before New Horizons came out, and I did a lot of Stardew Valley. And I know myself as an on the MMO side as well. I have been playing World of Warcraft since late vanilla, early TBC, and I was up until Legion. I was raid leading like competitive, like big group events. So I've always been into the idea of both of them. And then when somebody had said Paleo was like a mixture of them, I was like, oh my god, well, here goes my life.
No, I felt the same way, but I was not into the cozy MMO when it comes to gaming because I played a lot of action games such as a, a bit of World of Warcraft and also Overwatch back in the day. But also I went to horror as well, like playing Phasmophobia, a bit of Devour, and just like all the horror type. But cozy MMO was never in my sphere of gaming. So when I heard it was closed beta, I was like, hey, why not? Let's try it out because I've never touched upon cozy MMO, and started closed beta, and then been stuck with Palia ever since till this day. So it's been a great experience going through Palia and how has it changed and how new people are discovering it every single day. It's just amazing what the community has been built up to.
Yeah, that's one thing that's been really good is I have to say the Palia community is really good, especially compared to a lot of other online game communities. Like obviously every group's got their toxic moments, but I feel like overall Palia's got a really good community, and everybody seems to be really nice.
Definitely, and we want everyone to check it out because it's just a click of a download, and it doesn't cost anything. And plus, you could see how the world is. It's not like Minecraft where it's just endless building. There's actually a story. There's actually new things to discover, and also where the story is being headed. And you're just spending constantly hours every time you're just playing on it. So it's a great experience if you're looking for something that's really cozy and something that you could be integrated with the environment and also all the new characters that you're meeting with every single time in the game.
Right, exactly. They seem to be really good about releasing new content quite frequently, whether it being big or little. But then we actually, speaking of new stuff, actually just got the first big expansion to the game. So I feel like now's a great time to get
Right, right.
into it because it gives you time to enjoy a lot of the old game and still have a lot of the new content to then enjoy. And I know I myself has had quite a nice good time just casually enjoying this new Elderwood style. Though I know you've had a bit of a struggle trying to get into the Elderwoods.
No, definitely. When Elderwood was first released, this was an update that waited for a year since it was announced. However, with things were coming into motion, some things were being leaked, like we're getting like new storage and all that. However, it wasn't exactly happened right away. I know it's gonna happen, but it was just things that we were looking out for, and also being excited for. But when Elderwood first got released, my account was locked out. The reason because of that is because I'm thinking it's a cinematic, but I'm not entirely sure. But what would happen is that my account would I would log in, and then I'll get into this blank room. I'm pretty sure all the vets have been in this room before, where it's just basically nothing. But your account will end like appear as if it was a brand new account. All my levels were there. However, three of my rows of slots would be blocked out, and then you only have the two. So in that case, you feel like what the heck happened? But after I saw everything it had to show me, it just went me back into the loading screen, and then it would just basically the wheel would move. After 2 or 3 seconds, it would stop. Then it would just crash out my game, and then I was not able to go into my character ever again.
Wow, that's
So it was a
crazy.
yeah, so it was a long back. It was a long wait time in order for me to get it resolved with Singularity 6. But I am glad to announce that I am back into the game and also able to play and have fun with everyone that has been waiting for me to be unstuck, unbroken, with how the update was progressing.
But you were able to get in. You were able to at least like play around with it on like a newer alt account, right?
Right.
So,
But I couldn't. I tried not to play like on a storyline just to figure out what's this, what's that. I literally waited until my main account was literally done from all the bugs or something that's keeping me back in order to play with the story.
well, because I know I was like jumping into it with like on launch with like the story pre done, but like going into kind of like with that new character mindset, how enjoyable was it just jumping in without having to do the storyline? Because that's like an experience I didn't get to try out yet.
Jumping in with the new character storyline, I have seen different Palia streamers that instead of like actually focusing on building, they were mostly focused on completing the quests and the temples and all that. And it's kind of different to see because when you're just starting out, you just don't know what to do. And I think the main thing that people would do is the main storyline, which is great. Like that's what we want you to do is just to see how the story is progressing. But there's other things that I think they would mostly miss out on, mainly just because like party invites to go like hunting, fishing, or even like foraging, that type of gameplay. And it's kind of exciting to see like what they want to do next. Even if it's not like the main storyline, they would do something that is community based for them to keep on like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, and they would just keep on wanting to play with her, coming back to Palia, and just wanting to keep doing more stuff as either friends, maybe as a couple, or you don't know, right? But it's still like something that keeps inviting you back in to be like, hey, you should come play me, and it welcomes you with open arms like every single time. Like there's no fear, there's no like regrets, or there's just nothing like holding you back in order to keep playing, right? So that's what I love about it.
Right. No, absolutely. Because I know my join in was because when I jumped in, I'd actually jumped in like a day or two late because it was like the I had moved up right before Elderwoods had came out, and literally it's like the day it was released was the day they were installing internet into my house, and so
Ooh.
I got to play a little limited, but I know I was a little bit behind everybody. But I felt like it was like really nice. Everybody was out there helping each other. I know there was like one time where I had shot one of the new creatures out there and I didn't have the right arrows, but because I still quote
Right.
unquote got a hit on it, they were somebody else had came by and finished it off for me, and then I got the credit for it, and I thought that was
Of
I
course.
I think that's like a really cool way that as a veteran player you can still help out like a lot of the new players with who didn't have the time to progress like you did, and you guys still get to play together.
Right, right, right. And you don't necessarily have to craft all the infested stuff because someone might have the relic in order to have you shoot the new stuff that isn't supposed to be shootable for you. But since someone else has progressed the story further than you, they already have the stuff in order to hit the animals that are infested for Elderwood.
Right, and then like just the Elderwoods itself is just such a gorgeously designed place. Not anywhere what I was expecting in the pic. Like when I was looking at like the pictures and like the little previews we got in, I was not in. I was not expecting like a bog cave magical forest. I was expecting a lot more of like northern Bahari styled forest, to be honest.
Right, right, right. And with the Elderwood, I was not expecting like all like the jump pads to be able to climb on trees. I was thinking, oh, we're gonna climb on rocks. No, you were climbing on trees and finding things on the trees as well, which is really great. But it is a totally different new environment, and it was something that I think we've been waiting for a very long time, especially when we're thinking like, oh, it could be like exactly like Bahari. It's totally different, and I deeply recommend everyone who has not played, please go check it out. It's something to be. It's a whole forest that needs to be explored, especially when if you've never if you have played in the past and have never played the new update, please do it. I deeply recommend it.
Right. Well, I mean, you had mentioned like climbing up on the trees and the bouncing, and it was like that's the one thing like I really like is the fact that it's really layered. You'll go through one level and then you're like jumping down and you're on a whole new level, and some of it goes under one another, and it's like I feel like for the space that it takes place in, like they've packed a lot into the space. You know.
No, definitely, and especially when so you have some places that are a bit crowded or a bit cramped, but also has open spaces where you can just be freely just do like jump a lot of jumping, a lot of exploring, and also a lot of just looking for the animals that you are looking for, or like the forageables that you are looking for in that wide area.
Right. No, absolutely. Because I know although I will have to say on launch for the Switch itself was kind of rough because I know we had those killer lag spikes. Like every time I moved for like 10 seconds, I'd get like a little jumpy lag spike. But I know that hot fix last week fixed that. So I
Oh,
am
I'm so glad to
I'm
hear
grateful and thankful for fixing that myself. But also, I don't know if you had heard or not, but they had actually had fixed the long distance hunting bug for solo players as
that.
well.
Right,
Well, not for
right.
solo, but for anybody. And so I just thought, it's all they always seem to do a whole bunch at one time. So I'm still trying to figure out whether I like that or not. I mean, I definitely miss the idea of more easily hunting on my own if I aim up a super long shot. And it definitely
Right,
makes
right.
solo hunting, especially as a Switch player, a bit harder. I don't know if that's infected your hunting life yet or not.
I'm not much of a hunter, but I have seen or heard other people that have used a long distance of which is 50 meters. So how this hunting mechanic worked back then was if you were away from the creature from more than 50 meters, and if you try shooting at it, the creature will not move. It would just stay in one place, and you're just constantly shooting it from very far distance. And then eventually you'll just kill the animal and then gather the loot from there. It was something that I haven't learned like very early on. I think it was like more like mid to late, but it was an interesting mechanic. But I'm glad that they patched it and also fixed it because it doesn't seem like much of like a very interactive hunting experience because you want the animal to move. You want them to actually avoid you at all costs and not try to get killed at the end. And it's hunting has been a very interesting mechanic as well. Especially when if you're used to like FPS like Counter Strike, Call of Duty, or any of those games, it's 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 still it brings a lot of joy into playing those games, especially with hunting and Palia as well.
Yeah, see, I know I come from a more, I don't want to say lazy, but definitely a more casual gameplay myself. So I know I myself was on the side that I really enjoyed it, especially on the Switch, because you can't really rapidly change ammo as quick on the Switch. And I know, especially hunting things like Magic Mugen and whatever, it definitely made a solo hunting experience on a lower quality system like the Switch a lot easier. And I feel like if you were able to line up the shot without it messing up, I feel like, part of it was a good reward for being able to do things on your own and make it a little bit easier for those with accessibility issues, I guess would be a good
Right,
way to put it.
right,
Um, I definitely missed the change myself, and I'm hoping that they revert it. But I understand why they made the change, and I'm not mad about it. So I'm indifferent either way. I just know it's definitely been something I've heard a lot of people talk about as of recently. So
now I understand that, especially when playing on the Switch, and we're soon to have the Switch 2 later on. It is something that it is very difficult because I tried playing on the Switch playing hunting. It is not a favorable experience because it would basically lag, but also the fact that it's not as predictable where the animal's going in your mind. So it kind of feels like wonky. It feels kind of like very something. It feels very something that you're not going to be enjoying playing on the Switch. But on other like console or like PC, it's much better. But even then, like I'm not much of a hunter when it comes to Palia. Like I'm not favorable in like going hunting, mainly because we're just I'm just literally just trying to find either like plushies and all that, but I don't find that much joy into it for if you know what I mean.
oh yeah.
But
Well, that's
yeah,
kind of like the whole point in the game is, you have different avenues to do different things that you like, and
right.
yeah. But speaking of a different, hobby within and a different bug fix that they like to fix, we seem to have Froggate for the past couple of weeks, where where everybody's in a corner and like what F9 trying to catch all the frogs and just
Right,
frogs.
right, right.
And then like people are complaining to fix it, and then they fix it, and all of a sudden a new spot's found. Then they fix it, then a new spot's found. It's like legitimately. I remember I was streaming, and one person was like, "Oh, I found a new spot this morning," and somebody else in chat was like, "Oh yeah, that spot's fixed, but this is the new spot." I'm like, "Dang, y'all work quick on these frogs."
Right. And And the hotfix has fixed mostly all of that. I'm not sure if anyone else has found a new one since then, but so far I have not seen a new spot
You know,
for those frogs.
for those who don't know though, what was the interaction within the frogs?
So what what would happen with these frogs is that people would call this an exploit, but I'm not sure if it was because it basically would spawn an epic frog that normally wouldn't spawn because you wouldn't spawn because these epic frogs shouldn't be spawning like every single time it comes out of the lore. Like when it comes to like a honey lore, you would get uncommon, common, and rare epic bugs, right? No, this was
Hmm.
just all epic frogs of the same one, and it was insane of how much money and also the power level you can get from just doing these frogs. And also you're having a huge group of people just coming by and just, hey, are you doing frogs? Hey, let me join you. And it was a nice gesture for any of us to just invite the person in and also have them like get money as well as we are, and we are just power going through it. It was amazing.
Right. I knew a lot of people was having a lot of fun with it. I didn't really have enough solar power to do a lot of early Elderwood playing because I myself am on a complete solar system here in my house. So my powers and how much game time I play is limited on how much sun I get. And I know it was like for the first like bit of the Elderwoods, it was definitely a lot of more overcast days. So I wasn't able to get in on too much of the hop in events. So I just kind of just went around, did some fishing, and did some questing. You know, I typically do a lot of fishing in Palia though myself. So
And I love fishing, right? Fishing has been a great experience for me, but for others that I've talked to, they said, "Oh no, fishing's not for me," and that's totally understandable, especially when other fishing games isn't as good or not as um
involved.
involved, yeah, with fishing like Palia is. So I deeply understand that, and it's a great way in order to earn money as well because you can use the fishes in order to do cooking parties such as a sashimi, fish stew, fish tacos, etc., etc. And basically do an event that you could cook all these fishes in order to earn money or EXP from if you really wanted to.
Right, because that's one of the big things I've enjoyed about Palia is all of the events that you get to do in the game, and I would say if I would have one little critique about the Elderwoods, I feel like there wasn't, you know, kind of like anything like new event wise in the Elderwoods. You know,
Like,
because
what do
you,
you
well, I
mean?
mean, you'll have like your classic lures and stuff, but you know, there's not like, for instance, you know, in Bahari, you have the groves that spawn, and everybody would gather together to
Right.
do the groves. I was kind of expecting like an infected essence grove to happen. You know, or something like that, or it could have been like, you know, an infected fishing pool or a bug infestation, you know, or something, you know. It could have been like an infected swarm of whatever came in, you know, and it could have been different types of events even, you know. I wasn't saying just the
Right.
growth, but just something
Right.
like that in general. But but I do like the fact that, for instance, you know, there are two rummage piles within the elder woods, and the fact that you have to use the hoe to like dig through it
Right.
to find
Right.
the rummage pile. I think that's such a nice new addition rather than just going to a pile and clicking and picking it up. Because I know in real life,
Right.
I moved on to some older family land, and I've been like hoeing the ground to like till it a bit, and I'm literally finding glass jars and random
Ooh.
paper and just crazy stuff like in the ground, and it's kind of weird how realistic that kind of feels.
No,
So
definitely.
it adds a new layer to just going to a rummage pile, and so it's stuff like that that I really do enjoy about the Elder Woods.
Also, I'm not sure if you know about the cheese about the rummage pile back in the day. Um, have you? Do you know anything about the cheese and back in the day with rummage pile with
Oh, where you
Bahari and Kilima?
oh yeah, where you could secure what item you get,
You could kind of
or pattern or recipe, I think is what it was.
right. So back in the day, we literally would fill up a whole entire inventory with like furniture, and then if it's lootable, we would pick it up, and it'll be like a recipe, or it could be like a quest item. But if inventory was full, we would just literally quit the game, log back in, and then just the loot pile would change. And we just do that a couple times until it says, "Oh, you're able to pick it up now," and that's literally how we could get a furniture that we can't normally get, like just picking up every day.
Oh, you would
We just
log
go,
in and out.
yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah,
secret. I'm over
yeah,
here like running back to my house or running to the underground and then running back out, and I'm like, this is not worth the time. This is not a
right.
good. This is not good for me. I can't do this. This wastes too much time. But then logging in and out, I think, would make things a bit quicker. I don't know. Logging in on the Switch sometimes can probably take just as long. but but yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I really like the fact that there are just so many different ways to play this game. So yeah, they introduce all the new different forms of ammunition in the Elderwoods for the infected essences. What did you think about that as the new Elderwoods mechanic?
The thing is that even if you don't necessarily use it for the infested for the plants, the animals, or the fishing, you can still like have them as used for normal creatures, plants, and fishes, which is great because you don't want it like only particular to one specific thing. However, with that in mind, it's still like you want to use the spells, you want to use fine arrows, you want to use slowdowns, but it's brand new to me because it's not something that we're used to. But it's something to be explored in, right?
Right.
They could still add in a bunch of things that we might not know about in the future. So I'm an open book. So we'll see how that goes.
Right, because I know back in, I think it was August, on my YouTube channel, I did like an Elderwoods prediction video where I was basically just hanging out there, just predicting anything that I would think. And for like, I know for like arrows, I was like predicting maybe there'd be some sort of like damage over time arrow they would have came out with, or like a stun arrow, or I was thinking for like bug bombs, we'd get like a bigger bug bomb or something. And so I was sitting there thinking about it, I'm like, these ammo is nice, but unless like, I don't think it's gonna have any like longevity, like what happens after the
Right,
Elderwoods? Are we no longer using Elderwood ammo? You literally
right,
have to go back to crafted just for that one zone. Like, I like the idea that you have new ammo for the zone, but I definitely feel like there's not enough longevity with it?
right. Which also makes me a bit cautious because it's just the new stuff of what they're planning to do with it, or continuing to use it. But yeah, you are correct. If there's like another new map, we don't ever use these arrows or bombs ever again, just because like it's they use something else, and then they might introduce another ammo for that as well.
Right. And I mean, and you had mentioned earlier about the relics, and for those of y'all who are new, there are items in the Elderwood that you're able to create, which will basically allow you to eventually override the even need to use the Elderwood ammo in general.
Yeah, no, definitely. But we'll see how it goes because I'm still hopeful on the new stuff they're introducing with the story. We don't even know if the new character will eventually learn English, and then they have to bring another voice actor for that character. So we'll see how everything goes because I'm so hopeful on how everything is turning out to be
Oh,
right
I'm
now.
absolutely. I know they've still got more of the story to be coming out. I don't know if we're getting any more of the Elderwood zone because, we do have that one little area we can't get into. So
Right.
I would definitely wouldn't mind if they like expanded the map a little more. But with eventually, I don't, as I said, we don't really know what all they have planned. But I'm definitely excited the fact that the Elderwood story is not finished, and the fact that it's already like there's so much to do, and they're still like, oh yeah, we've got more we're gonna add, and I'm like, oh, this wasn't everything, because
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially when we, we're still locked in a loop where we don't know what's to be expected yet. Because you can still find like little quests here and there if you go explore the map, but also the fact that um what if they're going to be introducing like new creatures, new gemstones, like just little things here and there that might make the plot more decorative and also more exciting with what they're going to be introducing. They always love to add in furniture or little things, cosmetics, every single month. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
oh, absolutely. That's one thing that I like to think that at least they're pretty good at is at least giving us a little bit every month to go off of. A patch isn't just coming in and just fixing a few bugs and being like, okay, that's it. They definitely give us new stuff every month, and I'm definitely grateful that they at least tend to do that. I definitely don't think Kilima and Bahari are finished yet either. I think they're gonna still come back and add a bit more to them as well in future patches. Because,
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And with the story, I like where the story is going. But with the cozy game and talking about like war and like like people are missing, it's getting kind of where is this going type of scenario, right? Because we are still expecting the level 5 quests that the villagers haven't gone yet. So we're just seeing how will that progress into Elderwood, or if they will ever get a level 5 quest that relates to Elderwood as well.
right, well, I mean, and that's the thing, and I know they've mentioned other zones as well. I know, wasn't it, Hacian has mentioned the plains before. So,
Right.
and we've had plenty of people mention Bahari City. So, and not everybody's going to tie into the Elder Woods, and I'm pretty chill with that, But I do like the characters that are involved, like that they're that they now that they're walking around the Elder Woods, and you can kind of see other people there, and they've given some people some
Right.
new routes. I do like the fact it definitely makes it feel like the world is ever evolving and ever breathing. Because to take over the conversation for a moment, I know for as you mentioned earlier, we've been waiting for this past year for the Elderwoods. Because they were like the Elderwoods is coming, it's coming, and we've
Right. Right.
a lot of us had been putting money into the game every month, and we've been out here like supporting the game. I know me and you stream it all the time. We help bring awareness to the game. That's why we're even doing this
Right.
podcast. And so it was a lot in the air of what to expect from the first expansion, so to speak. And so that was like one of the big things was how was they going to take it. And so far, like, I have to say I am happy with it, and I feel like it was definitely worth the wait, and I feel like they added enough stuff at one time to make it worth the wait.
Right. Especially when we were literally just done all the quests, we've done all the relationship building, and just basically we have no idea what we're going to be doing with our plot. But I'm glad they are introducing everything every single month, just to make the game more vibrant and also something to do while they are making other things for the story and the map itself. When this was all happening, it was really something. Just seeing what they would come. Oh, what's next? What's next? Is it gonna be this? Is it gonna be that? But for what it's worth, it's really been a great thing to see that they're still continuing forward, even if it's not like something that progresses the story, but it's something that will keep us from not playing the game. It'll just keep on pushing us to keep playing, despite us wanting to get new story, new quests, and new materials and all that. So it's been really fun. It's been really fun so far as
Right.
well.
Right. And well, and speaking of all the new things, I know we're supposed to be getting the roadmap this month, and we're supposed to be getting the new patch this month, which includes the brand new animal husbandry, as well as I believe they said they were going to be adding what new quests to the Elderwoods in this patch, or is that coming in a later patch? But I
What
can't
is animal
remember.
husbandry like farming or is
That's
that
yeah, that's what I believe. I believe we're going to get like ormus to take care of, and I forgot the name of the chickens in game.
I have no idea what
But
the chickens' names
yeah, I can.
are.
I legitimately, if you wouldn't, if I didn't have to say the name, I would have had the name like already like in my head. But I know they have chickens in the game, and I know they have the
Right,
ormus, which are their version of the cows. And I know a lot of us has been asking for animal husbandry in Palia.
right.
So
Do you think we'll like they'll be getting like making flour or making a salt or like making eggs like you get them starred? You think that will be a thing?
well, I mean, I know they've gotten to the point that, we're actually using milk to make cheese on the stove in some of the newest recipes. So I
Right.
definitely think we're going to be able to get like milk and such from the Ormus. I feel like that's like the whole point in like being able to take care of animals is getting products from animals. So I'd hope we'd get star quality products. Um,
That'd be
but
great.
but similar to like the cooking, similar to like the preserves or like the starred vegetables. It's not like you can display those on your plot yet. Fingers
No,
crossed. So
I wish.
if you got a starred milk, it's not like I can put it in my fridge box. So
Right, right, right. And the things that we can put into our pantries. I wish there was an actual like fridge, like it does like have like a cool atmosphere if you open it. But they mostly gave us like pantries for us to open and also put stuff in for like decoration, but
right.
nothing really of sorts of like a fridge.
Well, like
So I
you well.
wish.
Well, I mean, they've got a couple of fridges down in Zeki's Underground. There is one in the Ranch set. I believe it's the Ranch set, and then there's one in the Paltech set actually. But I don't think you can actually like open them up. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I don't have the
Oh yeah,
game
the
in
ice
front of me.
box. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, the
right,
ice
right,
boxes.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but
yeah.
but I was just using that as an example. But it was like they
Right.
put the new beans in. They put the new beans in the game that you can find in the Elder Woods, and you can make canned beans. But I can't put the canned beans on the shelf. But it has like its own like unique icon on the bar, and it looks really good. I'm like, let me put this can of beans on the shelf. That's all I want is to be able to put my jar of apple jam on the shelf and some pickled, cabbage on the shelf.
Right, 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 right. I
Well,
mean, I wish we could do something with the apple gems and the blueberry gems and all that. Like, I haven't seen like new recipes being introduced that involve like oh, you need pickled cabbage or pickled tomatoes and pickled and like everything that they introduced so far
right.
into it's kind of very weird, and it's
That
like, why introduce it when we're not going to be using it for
No,
cooking and all
no.
that?
Well, I mean, I know it's introduced as like a way to
Mm,
like AFK make money, because I know me, for instance, I've got four preserves on my plot, and I almost keep them always full with apples because I grow a lot of
right.
apples on my plot because I do a lot of cake parties. And you know, and it's just a casual money maker. It's something I go empty them out and I go sell them. But no, you make an excellent point. Like, I would love to be able to use these pickled or preserved items. I feel like including stuff like that into recipes would almost, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, would make cooking a bit more difficult for, you know, having people come up with so many for a cooking party or whatever. But I feel like that would be
Right.
like half the fun of somebody who wants to take on a more quote unquote difficult role, so to speak, you know? And so I think that you made a valid point. I actually would like for them to add that into recipes. I think that'd be really cool.
I mean, I'm not sure if you played back in the day where before the cakes were technically kind of nerfed, where basically it didn't really have, like, usually for a cake party you need 18 people. Back then you needed 15. So
Mm.
they added three more rolls, but also took away the most money making, which is the jams. So back then we used apple jams and blueberry jams. You can use either or, but many people, of course, use apple jam because it's more of a money making, and so we did a lot of that. But since they took the apple jams away from the actual recipe itself, they were like, "Nah, you guys don't want to make that much
Oh
more
wait,
money, so we're
wait.
just gonna lift the price of it."
Oh, so fruit frosting was somebody brought in jam instead of making
Right,
fruit. Oh my god. No, see,
right.
I was not doing cake parties when I first it took me probably a good 6 months of playing before I actually participated in my first cooking party, and lo and behold it was a Mujin Bahari party. And I was
Oh,
the pepper, and the pepper was the bottom of the list. And I don't know if anybody's in a cooking out there done a cooking party on Switch, but or
right.
in console in general. But when you're not on a mouse and you're trying to go down, and every time somebody else clicks an item, it takes you right back to the top of the list. So my first cooking
Oof.
party was a nightmare. So after that, I was like, I'm gonna do my own, and I did cake party for my birthday, and it actually was really cool, and I had a lot of fun with it. And so since then, I've done a lot of cake parties. But no, I actually did not know that change came in. But I knew it. They nerfed the money on it, but they still make plenty of money, so I'm not like that upset about it.
Right. And that's how they nerfed the money on it. That was literally, oh, how do we nerf it out? Oh, we'll just take away the apple jam. It's like, oh,
Because I
bruh.
wondered why you weren't able to use the jams for like the pies. I feel like apple pie and blueberry pie, instead of using apples
Right.
and blueberries, you'd use the jam to kind of be like pie filling, you know, as people buy pie filling from the store, you know, type of thing.
Right.
And I was like, why didn't they ever do that? So it kind of makes sense that, you know, they did it to lower the amount that things would be worth. But I mean,
Like,
go on.
like they increased the money amount, which is used to be 300,000, but now it's 900,000, 900. You no, basically,
Right.
and but the pricing of the foods hasn't gone up either. Like they increased the pricing of it, like how much we can get, but they have increased like back in the day we did crock pot pie, we did apple pie, we did we did a bit of cake parties. I think if we're back to it, I wouldn't mind that. But mainly like just like short cooking parties like that. We did a lot of back in the day. Like I even did like 500 crab pot pie, because we would gather so much of vampire crabs in order for us to use, and we
Goodness.
would be selling them for like 175 each, and it was great money, like because it was just fast, simple, and no one's burning stuff. It was great, but now it's like okay, we increase the price, like the pricing limit on how much you can on the gold you can carry. Um, how come we didn't increase the amount of the pricing for how much we could sell with these food items? Right? It's not just like you're not making them for focus food. You are making them to actually like gain money from them as well. And I want some of the dishes to be brought back in order for us to do like a lot of them in order for us to make like profit
Oh,
on those items.
oh, absolutely. And we'll definitely on another episode definitely deep dive into the money making aspect of Palia, and because that'll be I could go in and literally talk for hours about money making and parties in Palia, definitely for sure.
Oh, definitely.
But
And we want to share our tips, our experience on how you can make good money on Palia as well. So we'll do a deep dive on it on another day. Definitely.
but uh, but yeah, so I'm definitely super excited. I figure we're probably going to be getting a patch here within the next couple of weeks with the June update, and I know there'll definitely be a very good chance that our next episode will probably be a deep dive into the June update, whether it's just the timeline they're going to give us, or we get a patch between now and then. But I definitely that's going to be our next episode. So if you guys aren't following us here on Spotify, make sure you follow us here on Spotify, and I will also be posting this on the YouTube on youtube.com/@kfearscene. So make sure you're following and subscribe to keep up with the podcast as we continue this forward.
And also follow us on Twitch. We are live usually on weekdays, but we sometimes are live on the weekends. So please give us a follow and expect us to be online on your newsfeed sometime on Twitch if you are checking us out.
Right, because that is something the Singularity Six does a lot of. Is they do a lot of Twitch drops. So even if
Right.
you're not active on Twitch, just going in and connecting your Twitch account to your Paley account, you can actually just go in and lurk and not actually type anything, not actually participate, and you can still get a lot of in-game goodies. And it'll also help us out, so it's kind of like a win-win situation. So
I think some of us are. I think me and K Fierce are going to be giving away Reuploaded butterflies. So if you really want one of those plushies for yourself, I deeply recommend checking us out, and you may win one of those plushies.
yeah, I definitely got an event planned on later on this month. I'll definitely have more information on that coming around my socials, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But I think that's going to be all for today's episode. I want to thank y'all for, if you guys made it this far, for hanging out here in this very first episode of the Kilima Post, bringing you all the latest paleo news and content and stuff you may or may not care about, but we just want to talk about.
Definitely, especially when this is our first episode, we just want to keep it very short and simple, but also we want to get to know you guys more as well. So please give us feedback, and if we were with topics that you guys want us to talk about, or even want us how we're doing, we just want to hear from you, right?
But yeah, so that I guess that'll be all for today's episode, and until the next one, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.